Big money, I should say. According to Aduko, it is run, yes. However, when you go to places where oil is gotten from or is got from, you realize that we talked about oil bunkering during big stories, and some people say, "Oh, why are they bombing the people? The people that are producing the oil are not having development." But have you questioned? Have you sat down and questioned this money? I'm not talking about allocation now. We get allocation like every other state, but then we get 13% extra. I don't really know if the 13% is shared amongst the oil producing, states, but we get an extra to what is given to every other state. Before you now talk about the IGR, which many a time still is contributed by the IOCs operating in the various oil producing states. Should it go to the host communities? Or better still, just because we don't have a proper governance structure at the communities. I know we've got CDCs and traditional rulers, but for the sake of transparency and proper governance as enshrined in law, should it go to the local governments? This way, we would have been able to empower the local governments, and then the local governments will be so powerful, maybe like state governments, and the local governments will be able to embark on projects that will bring about development. I know this is Nigeria and it sounds good on paper, but it might be difficult to implement. But that's where the people would be able to hold the local government chairman accountable, because that is the government that is closest to the people. Yes, again, it sounds like a solid theory, but is it something that will work? Should we leave it with the host communities? The PIA, the Petroleum Industry Act, brought about funds 3%, right, for host communities. A lot of companies are yet to implement it. Remember, one of our big stories last week had to do with, in Warri, some people carried their god from their shrine, to the gate of a Chevron facility, and we talked about it, and I remember saying, is this not going to scare the remaining oil companies in Delta State away? However, it also pointed to the fact that some of these companies are yet to obey the letters of the law, the letters of the PIA. So it's challenging, right? We've not yet been able to now, but the government is easy to give to them, because if they don't give to them, the state governments will shout and take the federal government to court, and it's easier if it's the state government. But I wonder how difficult it will be if it were host communities taking the federal government to court for not paying them 13% derivation. I'd like to hear from you. Really, because I'm a believer in the fact that we need to trickle down the governance structure to the grassroots. We need to have the grassroots involved in the governance structure. And I'm looking at this. If we remove the 13% derivation from the state government and give it to the local government or even the host communities, development may, underline the word may, spread faster. May. But then you have to also put into consideration the Nigerian factor, where there is greed, there is corruption, there is lack of transparency. You also want to put into consideration that there was a time when they were having the national conversation on local government autonomy, when they were having the conversation on the autonomy of the judiciary and the legislative arms of government, and the people that have the power. On one hand, they say we gave them the mandate. On the other hand, they say they have the power. These people, decided that it's not going to happen. And they refused to allow local government autonomy, or even the autonomies of the judiciary and legislative arm of government, even though it is enshrined in the Constitution. I remember when the former governor gave an executive order Someone took him to court and said, no, I mean, you can't do that. Why would you do that? It's and the Supreme Court said, yes, you were trying to do the right thing, but you went beyond your powers. I'd like to hear from you. What do you think about this? You know why this is important, by the way? Everybody's talking about moving away from fossil fuel. Everybody's talking about, I want to go into clean energy. I'm looking at solar. I'm looking at gas. I'm looking at, how I can use, what do you call that, biogas and all of that stuff. Everybody's looking at how they can use agriculture too, wind and all the natural stuff. People are looking for alternatives to petroleum products. Was it this week? Was it last week? We had a plane fly from the UK to the US on biogas, biofuel. Is it bio? I know it's one of those clean energy. So the question then is, if everybody moves from fossil fuel, even if not entirely, would that not leave the host communities in a deplorable situation where for many years, for many decades, oil was explored? However, the development does not reflect the oil that have been got from the soil of these communities. And that's why it's an important. So you who are from the oil producing communities or from host communities, maybe you have a pipeline crossing your path. The question then is, which do you think is the best way? Because I'm of the opinion as well that if you give it to the host communities, as we've seen over the years, there will be fights, there will be factions, and the relative peace that we enjoy, we may not enjoy them anymore because people will start to fight. I'm supposed to collect the money. No, the share you gave to me is not enough. And nobody will talk about development anymore because everybody will talk about, I want to get the money, as we see with the, okay, I'm not supposed to call that commission. But 0817-923-0002 and 0817-923-0003. What are your thoughts on this one? Should, this 13% gotten from, crude oil money, should it go to the host communities directly? Or should it, remember the state government, maybe the state, because sometimes when the state government spends this money, let's look at River State, for instance. We can argue, even though the past administration would say, we positioned development in every local government, and I mean on paper it's true. We can say a larger part of the development in the state is in Port Harcourt and Obiakpor. A larger part of the development. I'm not saying whether from the past administration or not, but a larger part. Like if you're talking development in River State, if you're saying, River State is developed largely, to a large extent, we're talking Port Harcourt, Obiakpor. So the question then is, for River State that gets to the 13% derivation, how is it reflected on the host communities? And these are some of the issues I want us to tackle. 0817-923-0002 and 0817-923-0003. WhatsApp number 0809-030-6416. Now, I've raised some valid points. Is it points now? Talking points here. So I want to get your reactions to those valid talking points. One, in no distant time, we will move on from fossil fuel, the world that is. What happens to these communities that host crude oil exploration and production? We also have talked about how these monies have been used over time. Now, who's the appropriate institution to help the people spend the money? Should we give it to the local government, closest government to the people? I mean, what are your thoughts? I can go on and on and on about this one, but I'd like to get your thoughts. Gabriel is calling from Rumikbo. Gabriel, welcome on the show.
Mr. Kalada, good evening.
Yeah, still afternoon. Good afternoon to you. Welcome.
I quite agree with the comments of Femi that have been made because local governments in Nigeria are struggling, most especially in the Niger Delta, going up to the extent that local government chairmen are high talks with elections for governance. So we talking about this 13% derivation, recommending the community leaders. In my community, I'm in a job, by the way. My community, we are oil producing community, but this sovereign security, they give it to the community directly. And for 2 years, my community have not had a court case from one court case to another because everybody is dragging the person to collect the money. Now, my advice is that the citizen derivation should not go to the state government, nor the local government, nor the community leadership. There should be a collaboration between the community, the local government, and the state. If it can be a committee.
Gabriel, I would love to ask you a question quickly because I'm out of time. But if you say collaboration, the fact is a collaboration between the state. Oh my. I will still ask that question. Origi from Ogbogo, welcome. Quickly, please.
Yeah, Governor.
Yeah.
Please, if it would have been possible, let that 13% given to the community.
Okay.
I want to tell you that I'm 62 years old. Now, there is no government representation until this day, just this year, that we commissioned a doctor's quarter by our House of Assembly member. And again, we are not commissioning a town hall by a council. Apart from that, for 62 years that they have been enjoying our land, nothing apart from total that has done every other thing for us. So they should give us the money cash. It's okay. Because if you leave it for the government, they will build bridge across the morning.
All right then. All right.
So we are suffering. Let them give us the money cash. It's okay. Instead of getting to give it to government, let them give it to host community.
All right.
I support that.
All right then. All right. Thank you very much, Origi. Origi says, give it to the people, let them share it. But that's not development. I don't know. What do you think? When we come back from the commercial break, I get your thoughts to stay tuned. continue this conversation, the open season. So immediately after the 6 o'clock bulletin, you and I will talk some more. But I would maybe take one or two calls before we wrap that up. Those of you joining right now, you're listening to Hard Facts on 92.3 Nigeria Info. I am Kalada Kurubatumor, and once again, my apologies. I really, really want to have a conversation with you. So I'm just going to quickly go to the phone lines. 0817-923-0002 and 0817-923-0003. My goodness. Okay. WhatsApp messages, you go to the number 0809-0306-416. And the conversation has got to do with the 13% revenue from, oil exploration in Nigeria. By the way, just so you know, it's enshrined in the Constitution. I was going to read from the Constitution before I realized that the commercial was going to really be a long commercial. So when I come back, after the news, I will read from the Constitution and we'll talk about this better. But I've got Duke, and Duke is calling from Ingruta. Duke, welcome on the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, quickly.
Quickly,
let's talk, please.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you, Duke.
You are talking about the oil company going to give the money to the community.
I'm asking, should it? Okay.
Yes. I'm an old man from Egi. The total are trying for the edge.
No, I'm not talking, Duke. I'm not talking about oil companies. I'm talking about 13% derivation from the government.
Hello, I can hear you. Hello.
Okay, Duke. I guess you have to call back. Ida from Inkoro, welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kalada. I really love this topic. I'm from Inkoro local government. The revenue from the oil we are having, I council chairman, the thing that could be done is very, very well. I've never seen the council chairman like that. Each other local government, the same thing Andoni. Always go to Andoni. These people are using their money very, very. If you come there, you see projects that these people are working. Each other local government chairman and using our money to work for the local government.
I'm not talking about local government chairman, Ida. That's not my conversation. Have you been listening? My conversation is not about local government chairman, but maybe you want to take a listen again. I am talking about 13% derivation fund that goes to the state governors, and I'm saying because there is a report that says it should go to the host communities, and I'm saying should it be given to the host communities or even to the local government chairman? Or do you want it to continue being the responsibility of the state governors to determine how those monies are spent? And that's what we're talking about. And that's our conversation. Two more calls, because the two calls I've had just now, I don't think they were listening. 0817-923-0002 and 0817-923-0003. What are your thoughts on that one? All right, so according to section 162 subsection 3, any amount standing to the credit of the federation account shall be distributed among the federal and state government and the local government council in each state on such terms and in such manner as may be prescribed by the National Assembly. Now, any amount standing to the credit of the states in the federation account shall be distributed among the states on such terms. And okay, I've read that already. Let's take Braid's call from Buguma. Braid, welcome.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Batubo.
Yes, welcome.
Yes, the 30% oil derivation, for me, the way I look at it, there are host communities. And this money, when given to the governors, they don't utilize it. The governors, they use it for their own political gimmicks. And it doesn't go to the local oil producing communities. If this money is being spent at the oil producing communities, I think for me it will be a good one. Because giving scholarship, give a good health sector, I think that is what that money should have been used. There should be scholarship and also build some classrooms where necessary.
All right then.
And also that will go a long way if that oil, I think the oil derivation will be used in that manner.
All right.
Not to be given to any governor to put it at the back pocket. That doesn't go down. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. And finally, Muriel from Oak Creek. Muriel, quickly, what is on your mind? Please tell me.
Yeah, KDB.
I'm listening.
KDB, I think this money should not be given to local government.
Okay.
We're crying about federal government, state government. We've not been sorting these people out. For our local government. If this money that be given to them, it would be like they start like in fact, they're home nuclear and we can give to Canada.
All right.
Now, not already full. So I think it should be given to state governors and these state governors, all these all states, to set up a particular commission. Give this money to the hand over to this commission with the sole responsibility of developing the oil sector. And it should give us a go ahead for especially this oil.
All right, Muriel, I've got to go.
Refineries themselves with this money.
All right.
Thank you, Canada.
Nigeria.